we need to review just a couple things for 4.7. First, if I had the square root of 48 and I wanted to simplify, then I would pick something like 6 times 8, 2 times 3, and 8 is made up of 2 times 2 times 2, and I cross off everything that factored. Can I bring anything out? So 2 pairs of 2's. And so on the outside, I get 2 times 2, which is 4. And on the inside, I get a 3. Okay? All right. What if I had the square root of negative 24? It's going to have an I in it. So 6 and 4, 2 times 3 times 2 times 2. So on the outside, I put a 2. And on the inside, I put a 6. And where does the I go? Between the root and the 2. So 2I root 6. Okay. Well, this will be part of it. And then what about the negative square root, the square root of negative 16? That's just 4I. And if I factored it, it would be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So I bring out a pair of 2's, and I get 4. And then I bring out the negative, and I get I. What's left on the inside? Nothing. So the square root disappears. Okay? And we also need to know how to solve these using the quadratic formula. So the quadratic formula is negative b. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's do 4x, and I want a negative 5. So, wow, don't know what that was supposed to be. So 4 plus or minus the square root, and don't ever put the negative 4 in the squared. Just know that negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. So a lot of people mistakenly put negative 16. Just don't worry about the negative right there. Write down 16. And then negative 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 5, is plus 20. Over 2 times 1 is 2. And then 16 plus 20 is 36. Does 36 square root? 6. So I get 4 plus or minus 6 over 2. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 4 minus 6 is negative 2, and negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Those are my roots. Okay? Now, we're going to do some of the ones that we've done so far haven't simplified all the way. 5x squared plus 6x minus 8. Then that gives me negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 times 1 times negative 8 is plus 32 over 2. 36 plus 32 is 68. So negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 68 over 2. And let me double check something. 4.7. Yeah. Oh, really? Really? Okay. So, in our previous assignments, we just typed these into our calculator and found the decimal. And that has certain uses, but sometimes it turns out we want the square root answer. Because the decimal, you have to round it somewhere. It's not entirely accurate. And you can't write it all down because it goes on forever. So what we do is we factor tree this and see if it simplifies. Okay? So we take 68, which would be 2 times 34, which is 2 times 17. Can I bring anything out? A 2 with a 17 on the inside. So negative 6 plus or minus 2 root 17 over 2. Is everybody all right with that? So 68 is made up of 2 times 2 times 17. So I bring the 2 out, and the 17 stays on the inside. Now, we can check to see if this goes into both of those numbers. Not the square root. You can't touch the square root. But does 2 go into 6 and 2? Yes. That's negative b. The negative 6 is negative b. So yeah, we went from here to here to here. Now, if I divide both of those by 2, then I get negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 17. And that's the simplified answer. Okay? So let me show you another one. Yeah. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3, and 2 divided by 2 is 1, and we can put a 1 there, but we don't need it. And then it's divided by 1, so we don't need to worry about that either. All right, what if I had 8 plus or minus the square root of 72 over 16? Well, 72 is made up of 6 and 12, 2 times 3, and 12 is made up of 2 times 2 times 3. Can I pull anything out? Pair of 2s and a pair of 3s. So 8 plus or minus, what goes in front? So I pulled out a 2 and a 3. So I write 6. What did not come out? The 2. And then that's over 16. Okay. Now, I look at all three of these numbers. Is there any, notice I skipped the square root. You're not allowed to touch the square root. Are there any numbers that go into 8 and 6 and 16? A 2. So I can cancel a 2 everywhere except the square root. That gives me 4 plus or minus 3 square root of 2 over 8. Yes. So at the end, you look at these three numbers. If those three numbers have a common factor, then just divide it out. It's 2a. So in the formula, it'll be 2 times whatever your first number is. Yeah. Okay. What if I had this? 6 plus or minus the square root of negative 9 over 3. Does the square root of negative 9 simplify? Yes, it turns into 3i. So I get 6 plus or minus 3i over 3. Do they all have a 3? Yes. So I cancel the 3's and the 6 turns into a 2. So it would be 2 plus or minus I. Okay? And if your answer has i's in it, what does that mean about the graph? Ooh, nope. It doesn't hit. If a root happens twice, if it's like x equals 6 and x equals 6, then the graph bounces off of 6. But if you have i's in the answer, then it's even higher than that or lower than that, and it doesn't hit the x-axis at all. Okay? So this assignment, go to 4-7. And on number 7, it asks, or it tells you to solve the equation using any method and then explain your choice of method. I want you to use the quadratic formula, and so the explanation is my teacher told me so. So when you look at the answers, it will give you an answer, and then it will say, this is why we chose that option. Okay, you don't have a choice. You have to use the quadratic formula. So I want you to do 7 through 26, all. 7 to 26, all. Get to work.